Hello everyone, in this tutorial we're going to talk about marquee tools. These tools right here. It's the third time I make this video. For some reason the program is not capturing the screen or something, and unfortunately it's not telling me that before I spend all this time working on it, so hopefully this time it will work. And to make it quick and try to cut back on the time, the rectangular marquee tool and the one under it, they're both the same as far as the options that are up here. And then the single row marquee tool and single column marquee tool are similar to each other. Okay, the difference between the rectangular, or the first two and the last two, is that the different options that you can use up top here. If you want to select this area, and let's say you want to select another area down here, if you're not using any shortcuts, you're not going to be able to add, let's say, one selection here and another one down here. So what you can do is select whatever you want up here and then click on hold shift and add more selections. To deselect, Ctrl and D. Okay, and another way you can add more than one. If you're adding like a whole bunch of selections and you don't want to hold shift, you can click up here. This one, the first one is new selection, second one is add two selection, and third one is subtract from selection, fourth one is intersect with selection. So that second one, add with selection, as you can see, you can go on and add more selections to the first selection you made. And to subtract, you click on the third one which says subtract from selection, so now I'm subtracting from this selection. Or I can click on Alt. So if I'm clicking on Alt, it's going to automatically, like, let's say I'm on the new selection and I'm selecting, and then I need to deselect, like this corner right here. Instead of having to go up here and do that, I use Alt. As you can see, I'm just holding Alt, and you can see up here it's changing on its own. So you can work with that. And from the last one is intersecting with selection. So let's say within this selection you want to select just a part and not select the rest, the surrounding. You click on it and select whatever you want. So whatever is inside this selection is going to be selected from the selection that I had already selected from before, and everything that's not inside the selection box now is going to be included in the selection, as you can see, before, after. Okay, you can adjust the style, fix the ratio, add a ratio, and work with the ratio. Normally when you're working, you always want to have it on new selection. You don't want to have it on anything else. Okay, so this is working with a ratio, or you can fix the size if you know exactly how big you want an object to be. If you're like designing a poster and you know that this area right here is going to be for a stamp, and the size of a stamp is going to be this big by this big, and you want a box that's going to fit it exactly, you add the size. And if you don't know how, you can change. If you want to work in pixels or inches, centimeters, millimeters, you can simply right click inside the left or right and change whatever you want. And you can change one and not change the other. As you can see, this one's inches and this one is pixels. Okay, moving on to single row management marquee tool. So okay, before that I need to go back to the second one, and it doesn't really matter because the first and second are the same. The point I'm going to make now is that when you select, you can okay, for now it doesn't have any feather. So what's feather? Okay, let me show you. I'm going to copy this area right here, and then I'm going to open a new layer by Ctrl Shift N, and it's going to show me a new layer window. So I hit OK and Ctrl V to paste. So as we can see here, it's a defined edge. If we don't want a defined edge and we want something that kind of blends in or fades out, you select the area and then you add feather to it. And depending on the size of the feather and the size of the object, it will change how it looks. So if you have a big, like this selection right here, and I give it a feather of like 20, it's going to have a different effect. It's going to affect the 20 pixels. Okay, so it may not seem that much on this big circle right here, but if I have a circle this big and I feather it 20 pixels and copy it and paste, okay, that didn't work. Okay, try it again. Maybe I had to add the feather before I even copied. Let's try it now. And this eye right here, if you click it, it hides layer. Okay, so here you go. So you see how it's not defined that much, like it fades out. And that's what the feather does. So if you want to combine a bunch of layers to each other, so you can treat them as one layer, you can click on one, then click Shift, and the Shift will allow it to select in a row. If you don't want to select in a row, you'll have to push on Control and select different in between, as you can see. So if I want to group these upper three layers, I'm clicking here, then I'm clicking on Shift, and I'm clicking on the top one. It's going to select everything in between. And now I'm Ctrl and E, and now they put all these in one object. I can treat them as one object now. But that was just an extra piece of information for this video. But now we're going to move on to single row marquee tools and single column marquee tools. They're both the same principle. Okay, so I try to select an area. It's telling me that it didn't select anything, and the reason why is because these two marquee tools, the single row and single column, means that it's the single, I guess it means the single pixel, because even with a feather of 1, it's not selecting anything, so it's telling me that it didn't select anything, so it has to be on 0 feather for it to work. Okay, and everything else is the same for this one. This is it for this video.